Hey everybody, welcome to your horoscopes for this week. These are the horoscopes for the week ending 2/20/2016. We got a lot of good stuff for you this week, and we're going to go ahead and get right to it. And we're going to start, as we always do, with Aries. Uranus' squared position with Pluto is going to become a lot lighter this week as Venus moves out of that aspect. With Venus and Mercury being in that aspect for the last few weeks, it's been really, really rough, but it's definitely going to lighten up here real soon. Actually, this week, as a matter of fact, and within the next couple of months, you'll get a break from it, which is going to be nice. Now, this square is, of course, going to continue to cause some relationship issues for you guys, unfortunately. And this is really not so much about how you're dealing with the relationship. It's almost like there's a feeling of nobody's happy with what it is that you're doing. Now, the good news is that Uranus' trine with Saturn is all about taking that frustrated energy from these issues and turning it into something that you can use. You know, whether you are taking that frustration and using it to clean the house, or taking that frustration and writing something about it, it's definitely something that's going to be useful for you, which is a good thing. Even better, as the moon joins this trine aspect at the end of the week, it becomes a grand fire trine, and grand fire trines are totally awesome. They're all about energy. They're all about getting things done, and we're talking about real big, important ideas becoming the foundations for something that is actually going to be a really big reality for you. And those relationship issues, they're going to be nothing by the end of this week. The truth is that sometimes you need that little bit of burst of fire or frustration in order to really put your energy into something. And the big thing that you have to realize with these relationship issues is don't take on other people's problems. There's no reason for that. If they're doing what they're doing, let them do what they're going to do, because they're going to do it anyways, regardless of what you say, and use that to your best advantage. So you guys have a great week with that. Taurus, the moon kicks off this week in your sign in grand Earth trine position with Jupiter, Venus, and Pluto. And this is an amazing energy to kick off this week. And it's definitely going to make things a little bit easier when you're trying to make changes in your home and financial situations. Now, this is perfect timing for this to happen because you have been dealing with some issues, maybe some emotional issues lately, especially where Taurus is placed right now in the past and in that secret closet where you're dealing with your old junk. And this grand Earth trine is really a positive, uplifted boost, one that you really, really need right now, because it really shows you that you're not what happened to you. You're what you make of yourself and what it is that you're doing right now. And that's really the most important thing for you guys this week. So, with all of this grand Earth trine energy to kick off the week, you can use that energy and ride it all the way to the end of the week. And remember that those little issues that you're dealing with in the closet are just the beginning. As you keep dealing with those things and hashing them up and letting them go, more awesome things keep happening afterwards, because those are really the prizes at the end of all the work. So you guys have a great week with that. Gemini, this week you may be plagued by some of those little small difficulties that just kind of sort of throw themselves into whatever it is that you're working on or doing this week. And especially with the moon coming into your sign this week, Monday through Wednesday, it is going to make things really difficult as the moon moves into opposition with Saturn, moves into squared position with Neptune and Jupiter. It's almost immutable. I mean, so close to immutable grand cross, but thankfully not quite, which is a good thing. But it is still a very difficult aspect, and these days in particular are really going to cause these little difficulties, just these little boombahs that seem to happen no matter what it is that you're doing. You can't seem to get ahead because of these little suckers, and it's really frustrating. Now, for most people, when these things happen, it really gets in the way of your flow of what you're doing. And the big thing is that it really messes with what's going on up here. And it starts to make you feel and think like you just can't do it. Maybe you were able to do it before, but right now you're powerless and you just can't do it. And the more you fight against these obstacles, the bigger they become, because of course you're putting the wrong energy into it. Now this week, it's time to change that around and maybe break this habit a little bit. When it comes to these sorts of things, the biggest thing to look at is what I mentioned before. When you were able to succeed and now you're not. Now think about this. If you were able to face these obstacles head on and bust them up and get through it and be triumphant, then you can do it again. It doesn't mean that you were great at one time and now you suck. That has nothing to do with anything. This week it really is all about how you handle these particular situations, these little obstacles, and your mindset. Your mindset has a lot to do with what it is that you're doing. If you're going to allow these obstacles to put your mindset in a negative place, then honey, you're not going to get very far, unfortunately. And you don't want to do that. You want to be triumphant, like I said. So keep that mindset at a positive level. Look at those challenges for what they are. They're just little things that get in the way. And you know what? If you have that little thing that gets in the way, let it run its course and then move on from it. Go back into what it is that you're doing. Whatever you do, don't give up, because you're Geminis, and Geminis don't give up easily. So you guys have a great week with that. Cancer, this week, if those memories still seem to be plaguing you and these memories are coming back, either they're good memories of times where you did very well actually, and you're looking back at them in kind of a negative way, almost like you did well then, but unfortunately it's too bad that you're not doing well now. Or these mistakes keep coming up as memories. You keep thinking about mistakes that were made in the past. Now, if these things continue to come up, they really are trying to tell you something. And this week, when the moon comes into your sign, Wednesday through Friday, it's definitely going to come up in spades, especially as that moon moves into opposition with Venus and Pluto during that time. It's really going to make you feel in some ways as if you're lacking in love. And the truth is, it's not about lacking in love from other people. It is about lack of self-love. Looking at these things in a negative way now is definitely a dream killer. It's a deal breaker. It freezes you from being able to do anything, and it says you're not going to move forward. And the biggest thing is, if you or the biggest example that I have actually of this is one of my children, as a matter of fact, didn't do very well in school. And when that starts, it's really hard to get out of that and turn that around into something positive and do better, because of the fact that that negative is always seeming to hang over him, and it's a very heavy weight. And it's happened before with a couple of my kids, as a matter of fact. But eventually, when you make the decision to make that change, everything changes. So when you're looking at these past glories or even these past mistakes, perception is everything. And this week, it really is time for you to bust through that perception. Really look at it for what it is. Are you really saying that this mistake is stuck with you for life and you can't get away from it? Or are you really saying that you were glorious at one time and unfortunately you're not going to be now? If that's the perception, you need to change it. And until you change that perception, your hands will feel like they're powerless to be able to move on and do anything else. So this week, it really is about looking at the situation for what it is. Did you make a mistake? Learn from it. Don't make that mistake again. Were you triumphant in the past? Great. Look at what you did and put that to what you're doing right now. And above all, change that perception. Don't put yourself down. No negative self-talk. None of that racing going on in your head, because you are awesome. And if you don't think so, it's going to be a lot harder for you to be able to move forward from this point forward. So you guys have a great week with that. Leo, ideas are foundations for big things, and this week the big things are really about to get going, especially as we move into the end of the week, as the moon ends the week in your sign in a grand fire trine with Uranus and Saturn, showing you that these ideas, it's not only your responsibility to do something with them, but you have an amazing support system to be able to back you up and help you out with that. Now, you're never as alone as you think you are, and the moon's opposition with Venus and Neptune is probably going to make you feel like you are a little bit alone in what it is that you want to do, especially when it comes to the specific ideas that you are having right now. But the truth is, if you are trying to get support from one person and you can't seem to be getting that support from that one person, then you're not looking at the right support system. You got a vast support system over here and nothing over here. You need to turn your head to look at and embrace the support system over here. And of course, the biggest support system is you. You don't need anybody to tell you how amazing you are because you wear the crown, Leos. You know how amazing you are. So this week, it's really time to take those ideas and put them into action. And this grand fire trine energy, whether there's a moon opposition or not, is really going to light a fire under your rear to get things going. So you guys, rock on and have a great week with that. Virgo, this week, two amazing, humongous, beautiful aspects are kicking off the week in your sign. And we're going to start with that grand earth trine between Jupiter, the moon, and Pluto right at the beginning of the week. I mean, right as the week starts, you've got this amazing grand earth trine going on. And for the whole week, you've still got that grand sextile going on between Jupiter, Pluto, and Mars. So these are two very positive aspects that are really helping you to bust through old mindsets when it comes to money, and making change in changes as far as money and whether or not you can make the money even. And of course, making changes in your life and having the power to make these changes as a whole is big time with these aspects. It's a great energy to really show you what you truly can do with your own life and take you out of that place where you feel like your hands are tied and you can't do anything. Now, of course, Jupiter's squared position with Saturn is going to make it seem like you can't have it all. And it is, of course, going to affect your relationships in some way. But the truth is, nobody can have it all. It's not how it works. And right now, you've got so many opportunities to build on so many different things. Don't worry about the things that you feel you can't have right now. Those things are coming later on. And generally, when you have to really wait for something, it's because you're waiting for that something to be as amazing as you want it to be. So this week, it's time to really use that positive grand earth trine, grand sextile energy to make that money, to make those changes in the home, and to really get some things done when it comes to what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, because this energy is all about projecting you forward. And all the little things that you can't have right now, you'll get them later, so don't worry about it. So you guys, have a great week with that. Libra, it's still all about those you love this week, and the part of fortune kicking off the week in your sign makes you lucky to have so many people to love. And the dark moon is also in your sign this week, really calling for some change when it comes to your perception about loving these people. Now, for the typical Libra, they love who they love. And, you know, most people don't go around going, I love everybody. No, you may not be too terribly picky and choosy about those that you love. But there are certain people that really hold on to your heart. And that's the big deal here for you Libras. Now, when it comes to changing this perception, a lot of times these people are wonderful. It's wonderful to love them, but they can also be a lot of work at the same time because you want to do everything you possibly can for these people. Changing your perception is really important. And with this boost of luck, it is all about really understanding and seeing why it is that you love these people the way that you do. Don't look at them as work, but look at them as a miracle, because that is what they are. And when you find that love reciprocated, it means more than all the tea in China. It really does. So this week, when you're out and about with those people that mean the most to you, really look at them for what they are. They are miracles. They are the best thing about your life. This is what the Libra way is all about, is these people that they love. And really focus on that reciprocation. There's so many different ways that that love is reciprocated. And sometimes it's not shouted on the rooftops. It's the little things that makes it such a huge deal to the life of the Libra especially around those that they love. So you guys have a great week with that. Scorpio, Mars continues in your sign and continues that grand sextile position with Jupiter and Pluto this week, helping you to make beautiful changes when it comes to money, finances, and your relationships. That's right, we're talking some positive changes in your relationships, which is really good. Everybody loves positive changes in their relationships. And of course, positive change in finances as well. It's given you this energy to really make that money, really see where that money is coming from, giving you more options of how to make that money. It's a beautiful thing. And of course, making changes in your home as well. If you've been thinking about making those changes or adding something to it or moving all together, the energy is really ripe for it. Now, the Mars square with the sun is still there, and it is still plaguing your dreams and goals. And it is really difficult because it does seem like some of your goals are just so far out there that there's no possible way that you're going to be able to reach them. And it is causing a lot of frustration. But really, this is all about something that you might be missing, and you don't realize that you're missing it. Meditation is really good for this. Go inward, connect with your higher self in order to understand what it is that you are missing, because only you can find that. And the typical Scorpio is very intuitive. This challenge may just be here in order to show you that it's time for you to connect with you and find out what it is in this situation you're missing, so you can bust through this obstacle and get it done. So you guys have a great week with that. Sagittarius, as Saturn continues his squared positions with Jupiter and Neptune this week, you still have that feeling like your hands are tied making changes when it comes to your home and your career. And when we're talking about the career, we're talking making some really deep changes in that career. Whether you're starting a new career or just needing to make some changes in what it is that you're doing. This aspect's energy really makes it feel like there's just no hope in hell of making these changes. It feels like it's just going to stay this way forever. But Saturn's trine with Uranus is providing you some support when it comes to making these changes. And as the moon moves into grand fire trine position at the end of the week, it's showing you some of those ideas that have been in your head that are untapped resources. Ideas that have been there, you're like, oh, that's a great idea, and then you dismiss it and move on. Now, these ideas are going to come back up, and they're going to come back up for a reason, because they're untapped resources that you have really been neglecting for a while, and this may be the obstacle buster that you need in order to bust these obstacles in your way in terms of making changes in your home and your career. So this week, it's really time to bust out those ideas and really see what you can make of them. And maybe they won't come to anything, but I'm willing to bet you that some of them are the amazing idea you've been waiting for, and you just didn't even realize that it was that amazing. So you guys have a great week with that. Capricorn, Uranus's square with Pluto is definitely making some issues in your relationships this week. As Venus is moving out of your sign, it only makes that lack of love in that relationship feel a lot heavier. Now, the good news is that Pluto's grand sextile with Jupiter and Mars is still in place this week, and we're going to kick off this week with a grand Earth trine just as Venus is leaving your sign with Jupiter, Venus, the moon, and Pluto. And it's going to be big time. We got beautiful Earth energy to really make things happen. Now, all of these aspects are helping you to really take a look at these relationships and to look at the problems, to bust through the old myths, the old issues that you've had in relationships, and really look at this relationship issue for what it is. When it comes down to it, a relationship is not a give and take. It's a give and give. That's both parties giving into the relationship. Nobody's taking anything. It's give and give. And if you feel like you're giving more than your fair share and the other person is not, it is time for you to stand up and make some changes in that relationship. It does not mean that you have to end the relationship, but it does mean that you have to put down some boundaries and really look at the relationship for what it is. Don't be in a relationship simply to be in the relationship. You are better off as a awesome, high power being. You are better off being on your own than you are in any relationship that is not 100% balanced, meaning that both of you are pretty much on the same page or pretty much giving the same amount. So this week, it really is time to look at that evaluation mirror and determine, is this relationship really working for you? If not, how can you make some changes? Because now it's time for you to get what you deserve. So you guys, have a great week with that. Aquarius, happy birthday to all of the Aquarians born this week, specifically me. That's right. It's the Heavy Metal Psychic's birthday this week. And if you're an Aquarian like me, you're probably loving your birthday. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but my birthday's like my favorite day of the whole year. And also my mom, who is also, I was born on her birthday, which makes me either the best birthday present ever or the worst birthday present ever. I really don't know because I don't remember. So happy birthday, Mom. And of course, on the same day, the 15th, Corrine DeWinter. She's the Purple Plate Lady. And she sells her purple plates at www.purpleplates.com. She is an amazing woman. I absolutely love her energy. And I hope that she also has a happy birthday on the 15th. And finally, my good friend Monica, and I'm actually adding Monica for a reason. She was one of my very first clients ever about 5 years ago, and she's still one of my clients today. And those first clients when you're first starting out are so important. So Monica, I love you, and thank you so much for having faith in me when you know darn well I didn't have it myself at that time. It is, of course, the last few days of Aquarius as the sun is going to move out of Aquarius at some point this week. And as the sun is still squared with Mars, it is going to feel like everything you're putting into your goals and dreams, all the energy you're trying to put into it, and all the things that you want to do, there are those little obstacles that get in the way of your schedule. It's so annoying for an Aquarian who likes to have everything planned out and perfect, and it doesn't happen. It's really, really unfortunate. But of course, as the sun is moving out of our sign, Venus and Mercury are moving into our sign, really giving us some beautiful, loving communication when it comes to those goals and dreams, really showing us how to communicate what we want in a way that allows it or helps us to get what we want, which is also a beautiful thing. Now, as the moon moves into opposition with these two planets at the end of the week, it's going to feel maybe a little bit like you want all these things and you're not going to get them. And that is really annoying, unfortunately. However, the difference between successful people and non-successful people is whether or not you're up for the challenge. You got to understand that these challenges are coming to you for a reason. They're trying to teach you something. So be prepared to learn this lesson because it's really important that you do. That's why the challenge is coming. And above all, make sure to smile and do it in the best way that you can. If you're destined for greatness, only you can determine that. And if you want to be destined for greatness, well then, honey, you better step up and be great because that's what it's all about. So you guys have a great week with that. And finally, Pisces. It's official. We could say happy birthday, Pisces, as the sun moves into Pisces later on this week. And a happy birthday to all the Pisces out there, especially this week, Kevin Morse, who's the host of the Indigo Weekly Top 40 on paramaniaradio.com every Sunday night. And he's got a great show with great music, lots of dancing and action, and a little bit of astrology and a little bit of autism awareness, which is one thing that I really love, being an autism mom myself. Go over to www.paramaniaradio.com and take a look at the Indigo Top 40. Pop on in and have a listen. It is really a great show. So happy birthday to you, Kevin. I hope you have a great day at the end of this week. Now, Neptune squared position with Saturn is, of course, still there. It's going to be there all year long, unfortunately. A big, giant thorn in your rear. And it is providing some difficulties when you want to make some changes in your career. It just seems like you can't make these changes. It's like you're stuck there or something like that. And you can't figure out what it is that's keeping you stuck. But it's really frustrating because you are stuck. Now, this week it's really, really important to really understand, and this is part of the challenge of this aspect, is to really understand how to use your ruling planet of Neptune's energy in this particular issue. Because, of course, Neptune being in Pisces means that Pisces and Neptune are in their ruling sign with their ruling planet. So, how do you use Neptune's energy really? Neptune sees things so deeply, they tend to see underneath the surface. Neptune is looking for things that are hidden. It's the intuitive planet, it's the secretive planet. And so, of course, if you're reacting to situations just by what you see on the surface, you're looking for chaos. It's going to happen every single time, especially as Saturn is in Sagittarius, and you know that can be a very chaotic energy. This week it's really time to use that intuition and look at the situation beneath the surface. Don't look at the words that are being said right now in your face, but look at what's behind the words that are being said, the feeling behind the word. This is a total Pisces thing too, is to really connect with the feelings, not necessarily intellectually, but emotionally connect with those feelings in order to understand what it is that you're maybe not paying attention to, maybe you're trying to avoid emotionally, that is what's the foundation of this obstacle that is getting in your way. It's all about learning how to use Neptune's energy the right way, and you really have to look beneath the surface in order to truly understand the situation as it is. Once you do that, you become to a point where you're at a better understanding, and this obstacle won't be quite so heavy. So this week, it's time to be brave, guys, and really take a look at that surface stuff, because that surface stuff is really important. What is underneath the surface means a lot more than what's on top of the surface. So you guys have a great week with that. Thanks so much for watching the horoscopes for this week. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. We've got classes coming up finally starting at the end of this month. So you want to make sure that you hit up Grateful Fairy Wings Faithfuls on Facebook, or go to facebook.com/groups/Grateful Fairy Wings. And or of course you can always hit me up on Facebook. Look for the Heavy Metal Psychic on Facebook. I'm the only one. Classes will definitely be listed on that site as well. Again, I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching and for being a loyal fan of the Heavy Metal Psychic horoscopes. I'll see you guys next week. Have a kick-ass week, guys.